So today's video is all about consistency. That is one of the biggest pain points and struggles I keep hearing you guys talk about when building your personal brand. So over the past week, really, I have been talking to you guys through Facebook groups and Instagram DMs and all sorts of things and asking what has been the biggest pain point or struggle that you've had when building your personal brand. And I am overwhelmed with the responses that I've gotten. I've had over 500 people actually respond, and it's been incredible to go through. It's been very time consuming, but it's been incredible to go through and see exactly what it is that you're struggling with. And as I kind of expected, there are multiple things that keep coming up. A lot of people are having the same problems. So over the next, couple IGTV videos, I want to take the time and answer the questions for the masses. So like I said, today is all about consistency. So, okay, let's just get into it. The causes why you're being inconsistent with your personal brand. Some of the, sub parts to that were they don't know what content to post. They don't want to be consistent with their brand. It's hard for them to do, whether it's with content or really connecting with their audience. So the thing is that if you are not knowing how to be consistent, we can get into that in a second, but some of the causes are you're unclear on your niche. So if you don't actually know who you're talking to, it's going to be difficult to come up with content consistently, because most of the time, sorry, my arm is getting tired. I need to get a tripod. Most of the time, it's not a creativity issue, it's a connection issue. So if you are unsure of who your target audience is and what their pain points are, what they struggle with, what their desires are, all of these things, how in the world are you supposed to be talking to them? Because when you niche yourself down, you want to be talking to the one person. Because if you try to appeal to everybody, you're not going to appeal to anybody. I'm sure you've heard that before. But it is true. It makes it so much easier when you have that one person in your head that you can, when you sit down to write content, and we'll get into batching content, which will be helpful for you in a second. But when you sit down to write your content, you're going to be able to know what that person, what your ideal client is going to, and speak to them. Because getting a little ahead of myself, people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And they know, like, and trust because they know what you're about. They've heard you talk about things. They've listened to your content or read your content and thought, oh my gosh, she's in my head. I know exactly, or they know exactly what I'm talking about, all that kind of stuff. So the first thing is you're unclear on your niche. The second thing is you're unclear on your why. So why do you do whatever you do? That is imperative for you to figure out. So what you do, and I've talked about this before, so if you're new to this part of the personal branding, there are 2 videos on finding your why within the IGTV. You can go back and watch them. But like I was saying, so what you do is there to help advance your why. What you do changes as you evolve. So you never know different opportunities that you're going to get in the future, that they all happen to advance your why. Your why is a vision of the future that doesn't yet exist. Your why is what fuels you and how you base all your decisions off of. So those are some of the 2 things. And the other thing is, which I almost forgot, is remember that building a personal brand is for the long game. It doesn't happen overnight. And if you see people that are having these overnight successes, they're really not. You have to realize that they've taken 2, 3, 5, 10 years, maybe even, building their personal brand. And it's just different opportunities that have led them to the next one, where then maybe you see them pop up all of a sudden and then they've gotten huge. So that's the hard part with seeing a lot of these success stories, is because it might seem that it's an overnight success, but it's not. Building a personal brand you're in it for the long game. Your personal brand is really a self-development journey. And so let's get into the consistency. So One thing that I've heard people say is not having a background for your videos that you do, making sure it's consistent with that. You know, I've kind of gone back and forth with that. There's definitely, if you want to create a beautiful space where you always have your tripod and you're talking to your audience and all that kind of stuff from the same exact spot, that's cool. If you want to create consistency with it, like for your brand within the background that you have, that's great. But it doesn't always matter. Like, that's when it kind of goes through what is the value you're bringing, because you want people to watch your videos not because it's necessarily the most beautiful environment and studio environment, but you want them to be coming for the value and the education that you're bringing. So as you've seen, for me, like, my backgrounds of my IGTV is like pretty much everywhere. Like, I've been outside walking my dog and I've been recording some, or like now I'm sitting on the couch, another time I'm somewhere else, but it's really just the consistency of showing up. So don't worry too much about, one of the girls who mentioned this is she was a mom, and sometimes her house is, or a lot of times her house is very busy in different rooms, and so she's jumping around, and that doesn't matter. So just be consistent with what your message is and people will show up. The other thing is, creating content and batching content. Okay, so creating content, what I like to say is, once you figured out your niche, their pains and their desires and what they struggle with, then you want to come up with 3 to 5 topics that you want to be known for within your niche, that you can help them with to get their transformation or their desired self. So what are those 3 to 5 topics that you consistently want to be speaking on? And then use that as a guideline. So put that aside for now. And then, once I assume that you already have like a brand style guide, so you know your colors, you know your filters, you know how to edit your photos. And if you don't, you can send me a DM and we can talk about that. I might put like another IGTV video on how I edit my photos to kind of give you a little bit of guidance there. But anyways, figure out how you want your photos to look, and then figure out what type of photos that you want to be posting. And then once you do that, have a scheduling app. So my favorite one to use is Planoly. So what I do is I will edit all of my photos to, the way that I want them to look. And so obviously Planoly is already linked up with my Instagram. So what happens when you do that, it uploads all of your current photos from Instagram in there so you can see your grid. And then, like I said, you'll upload all of the already edited photos. And then you'll go through and you can organize them and figure out like how it looks best together. And then you go in, and what I recommend is every week pick one day and sit down for like 2 hours, get in your flow, whatever you have to do with that. I could actually create another one on that too. So basically what I like to do is I like to diffuse certain essential oils that put me in like a flow state. So mine are bergamot and rosemary are my 2 favorite ones. And depending on the type of, that's a little bit more to be super focused. If I want to be a little bit more relaxed, I'll burn some Palo Santo or something like that. So whatever you need to do to get yourself in the flow. And then you sit down and you just create. So what I recommend too is before you sit down creating, really detach yourself from Instagram for maybe an hour, maybe more if you can, just so you can stop consuming information, because that can really hurt your creativity. So anyway, sit down, type in all of the topics within each photo that you want, and then you have like a week's worth of content or more. And then you can schedule the day and time, and then it'll send you a push notification on that time when it is time to post. And then you just open it up, post it, copy paste, and then there you go. So it keeps you consistent when you have a plan. So those are just like the couple tips that I have on consistency right now. Just have a plan and it'll all get easier. So if you have any other questions regarding your personal brand, let me know so I can answer them within the IGTV for everyone else to benefit from.